So this morning we're going to discuss the abomination of desolation. What is it? How often did it arrive? Where did it arrive? And just the present and future. Present, current, and future. Okay. But before I do that, what I'm going to do is answer a comment or read an answer to a comment that was made. This fella here said the Crusades were from the Roman Catholic Church, which is not Christian, but a Babylonian religion. I've been telling you for the last, 10 years that Christianity is the Babylonian religion. But let's continue. First, Crusaders were larger prisoners offered pardons. As he says, the true church of God is always persecuted to a remnant. So you notice how he leaves the Jew out of the equation here. This is a favorite tactic of Holocaust deniers. Some of you will say, well, that is an awfully harsh thing to say. Well, if the shoe fits, then wear it. He says God is waiting for the Jews to call out to Jesus and repent. The Jews are never going to call out to Jesus. And as I have pointed out in these videos for the last 10 years, Yehovah, not God, is going to save the Jews first. I have proven it to you in both the prophets and in the words of Paul in Romans 11:26 and 27. He's going to save them first and then turn unrighteousness from Jacob. That's what it says. But see, you Christians, you can't free yourself from the lie. You can't do it. Because if you do, then your whole narratives come crashing down. And then he says, blessed be the day of the Lord. Well, Yehovah, his name is not the Lord. His name is Yehovah. And he says, I don't think you understand what a Christian is. And my response was, you are suggesting that a Christian is a standard bearer of righteousness. So how then do you explain when Paul said a Jew is one who is a Jew inwardly? As if that is the standard bearer of righteousness, which he's correct. Paul was correct. That a Jew who is one inwardly is the standard bearer of righteousness. I mean, Yehoshua didn't go from being a Jew to a Christian, did he? But see, you Christians, you tried to change his name from a Jewish name to a non-Jewish name. From Yehoshua to Jesus. In Romans 3 verse 1, he says, what advantage has the Jew? And what profit is there of the circumcision? None at all, right? Wrong. Much in every way. Much in most ways? Nope. Much in some ways? Nope. No, much in every way. Mainly because that unto them were committed the oracles of Yehovah. And that is proof that Christianity is not the standard bearer of righteousness. And it came out of Paul's own mouth. Now, the Wittenberg Memorial Plaque. It is prominently featured on a plaque in Wittenberg, Germany, that marks a medieval and anti-Jewish sculpture known as the Judensaal, the pig sow, located in the facade of the Wittenberg town church. Added in 1988, the memorial serves as a stark reminder that 6 million Jews died under the sign of the cross. What that means is you Christians are complicit. Therefore, you are guilty of the blood of the Jews in the Holocaust. Referencing both the tragic complicity and the anti-Semitic historical roots embedded within the Christian church. In the video you are commenting on, I informed you that the foundation of Christianity was uprooted from the truth to the lie, essentially from the Nazareth to Christianity. You will say, well, Nazareth means Christianity. That's what you will say. No, it does not. Christianity was a name that Constantine used to replace the Nazareth. Christianity became the lie when it switched from the Nazareth to Christianity in 325. If you think there is no difference, then you are the victim of the Christian lie. Now, so you might say, what is Nazareth or Nazareth? It is the Hebrew word, as they say, for Christianity. But see, the word never changed. You Christians, you rejected the Nazareth and you use the Gentile word, Christian. Why is this important? It's about the name of the beast. We will get into that in a little bit here. But what I want to do is show you something. This is AI overview. Early Byzantine artists began depicting Jesus. Notice what they did. They exchanged, the first thing they did was exchange the name Yehoshua for Jesus. Okay? And then they colored him different, so to speak. I'll show you what I mean. Began depicting Jesus with features historically associated with Greek and Roman deities. Specifically Zeus and Apollo, or Apollyon. You know, they had a king that ruled over them, whose name is Apollyon. He is the king of the abyss. Okay, now, just to make sure you understand here, of the abyss. Okay, where is it located? Down here. Right there in Italy, okay? Now, the abyssal zones are right here, and right here. Yes. Now watch this. I'm not done. Hold on. Christ of the Abyss. Let's go look at the images. That's it. Christ of the Abyss. They had if you read that particular passage, it says they had a king who ruled over them, whose name is Apollyon. So Apollo and Apollyon are the same thing. As Christianity shifted from an underground movement to an imperial religion. So here's the thing. The righteous movement in this world never becomes the imperial religion. It doesn't happen. It cannot happen. Not as long as Satan rules the world. Not possible. The underground movement stays an underground movement. So, who has stayed the underground movement? The Jews. This fusion of cultural imagery allowed the church to visually establish Christ as a supreme divine leader by using the face of Zeus. Now, let me explain. You think this is Jesus, right? This is how you know you are deceived. This is actually Zeus here. Zeus, the devil. And the first emperor of Christianity, Constantine, made a graven image of himself to look like Zeus. Then what did the Christians do? They went from here and where is that? To here. Okay? They went from this to this. Now, Abomination of Desolation. Remember, don't forget now, image of Zeus. Image of Constantine the Christian as Zeus, aka Jupiter. Now, the Abomination of Desolation is a profound theological and prophetic term originated in the book of Daniel, according to referring to a sacrilegious, idolatrous act that defiles a holy place and brings about, as they say, divine judgment or destruction. It brings about destruction. Okay? Now, historical fulfillment. The first one. Most historians and Jewish traditions connect the initial prophecy to the Seleucid king of Antiochus IV. The word Epiphanes is an abomination and a blasphemous statement. He invaded Jerusalem. That's what they always do. Always. Every single time. No exception. Desecrating the Second Temple. Desecrating, that's right, Zerubbabel's temple. They erected an altar to Zeus. Who? To Zeus. This guy right here. And sacrificed a pig on the altar, an abhorrent act to the Jewish people that brought spiritual and physical devastation. Now the second abomination of desolation. The first century fulfillment. Now, notice that they want to say the word Jesus here. It is not Jesus, never was, never will be. And I quote in the New Testament, and I will not say the word Jesus in place of Yehoshua. Yehoshua references Danielic prophecy in the Olivet Discourse found in Matityahu, not Matthew, and Mark. Many scholars interpret Yehoshua's words as a warning about the Roman destruction of Jerusalem and the temple in 70 AD. And indeed, that is also correct. When the Roman army brought their pagan standards and images into the holy city. But it was not only that, folks. It was how Caligula started it all. when he ordered the graven image of himself as Zeus, aka Jupiter, to be placed in all of the Jewish houses of worship in the Roman realm, including the temple in Jerusalem. And when they brought that graven image of himself as Zeus to the temple, the Jews had it thrown out. Now, so we go to, there's the abomination of desolation here. And when you see the abomination of desolation in Matthew 24, verse 15, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the Kodesh, the holy place, the Temple Mount. Whoso reads, let him understand. Then let them that which are in Judea flee into the mountains. So if they would have listened to this particular statement right here, they would have had time to flee to the mountains of the south. And let them which is up on the housetop not come down to take anything out of the house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them with child, to them that give suck in those days, but pray that your flight be not in the winter, and not on the Shabbat, for then shall be great tribulation. And it does not say such as not was since the beginning. It says, sort of manner, not from origin of the world to this time, not anymore at all. So in other words, here's what this is saying. This particular tribulation, there is not going to be another temple set up and a third great tribulation upon Jerusalem. There's not going to be one. Why then are you Christians insisting that there's going to be yet another one? And except those days should be curtailed, there should be no flesh saved. What days? Is it just 3.5 years, or is it the great tribulation that was on Jerusalem remained until this day? But it says, but for the elect's sake. Who are the elect? I'll show you. All you have to do is do this. Go to Bible Hub and do this. Mine elect. We go down to here. Isaiah 45 and verse 4. For Jacob my servant's sake, and Israel mine elect. It says, I've called you by your name. I gave you a name, though you have not known me. They are still his elect. Now, let me ask you a question. Since Israel is the elect, and this tribulation would have killed all of the very elect, were those days not curtailed, and they would eventually have wiped themselves out off the face of the earth with nuclear weapons, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be curtailed. All right? Now, so it says, let them that which are in Judea flee into the mountains. Where is Judea? That's right here. If I can get a better picture. Well, it's not giving me much to work with here. Okay. Where is Jerusalem? Well, right about here somewhere, right? Where are the mountains? Down this way. Into the Sinai Peninsula. Okay? Now, I want to show you this. So the elect are the saints that are written in here. And that means the saints, the Kodesh, are Israel, the Jews. Now, I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea. That would be the Mediterranean Sea. Having 7 heads and 10 horns. I discussed extensively in very recent previous videos who the 7 heads were and the 10 horns. And upon his horns are 10 crowns, and upon the heads of the names of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet was like of a bear, and his mouth was like a mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, his seat, and great authority. And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. Well, we have discussed that. That was, I have proven that to be Nero. Now, I want to show you something that you may not have noticed. And all the world wonder after the beast. So, I will continue with this reading here, and we're going to get back to the beast who was wounded, as it were. As it were, what does actually that mean? Even as like. Or like. What even does that mean? Like. As it were. Even as like. What that means is he may have indeed be wounded to the death, or appeared to be wounded to the death, but was healed. Well, those of you who know the story of Nero, there's more than one story. It is claimed that Nero caused his shield bearer, or his, his security man, his top security man, to poke him with a sword. Some people say he committed suicide. Other people claimed he feigned suicide. Okay? Now, but if you are not careful, you will miss something. Right here it says, I saw one of his heads. It was wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. Now I'm going to show you. Let's just keep going. And all the world wondered after the beast, and they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And I showed you how. Beginning with the year 70 CE, with Vespasian, when they invaded Jerusalem, they had these banners of the serpent. All right? And they called it the Draco, the dragon. And they worshiped the beast, and they said, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And it was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. A power was given unto him to make do 42 months. This was when Vespasian sent his son Titus, and the siege continued 42 months. And he opened up his mouth against blasphemy against not God, but Jehovah, to blaspheme his name. Now, I'm telling you, folks, when you go and place the name Got or Deus in place of his name, that is blasphemy. His tabernacle, which is in Jerusalem, and them that dwell in heaven. That's the messengers with Jehovah. And it was given unto him to make war with the Kodesh, the elect. That means the Jews, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all the kindreds and tongues and the Gentiles. That's what it says. And the Gentiles. And all that dwell upon the earth worship him, do reverence to him, whose names are not written in the book of life from the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. Okay, now we're going to go down here. It says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the land, and it had two horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. And he exercised all the power of the first beast. That would be the Julio Claudius Empire before him, and causes the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Let me show you something you have never seen before, and this is the truth, folks. Right here, I do believe. That's it. The man who had the wound to the death, but his deadly wound was healed. He was later killed by Galba, by the way. Was this guy, Nero. I want you to take a look at this image and look at it very, very carefully. Now we're going to go back and we're going to read. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them to dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. So they worshipped Nero as Jupiter, or as Zeus. How did the second beast do this? Like this. That is the image of the beast whose deadly wound was healed. Right there, folks. Right there. Right there. That's it. And he does great wonders, so that he makes fire to come down from the sky unto the earth in the sight of men, and deceive them that dwell upon the earth by means of these signs which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying that them that dwell on the earth, that he should make an image to the beast which has the wound by the sword and did live. That would be an image of Nero. So the an image of Nero as Zeus or Jupiter. Okay? That means, see what they did? All these bars of light around there, right? Same thing. Same thing. Same thing, folks. Right here. This is that image. Now, the holy fire, as they say, the Byzantines do this to this day. It is a lie. It is proven to be a lying wonder. Go look it up. The holy fire on, what is it? Holy Saturday. Look it up. It's there. It makes fire to come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and to see them that dwell on the earth by means of those wonders which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had wound by the sword and did live. Now it says, and he had power to cause life to give life unto the image of the beast, and the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many that would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Now, what do you think is going to happen when the Mashiach returns to Israel? The man at the Vatican is going to be desperate. The Christians are going to be desperate. Well, now they have AI and holograms and all of that. What do you think AI is and the holograms are really for? To deceive the people in the last days. Now, he calls all, both small and great, rich and poor, and free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand and in their foreheads. And I've proven it to you over and over again. The sign of Ash Wednesday on the forehead and the sign of the Coptic Christians on the right hand. That no man may buy or sell, save he that has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Or the name of the beast. This is the reason why you cannot transfer the real name. You cannot erase the real name, which is Yehoshua, to a different name. Because if you do, by default, that new name that you apply to Yehoshua is in fact the name of the beast. And the number that is in his name is okay. You see that? It's the same thing. But XES, Chi, Xi, and Stigma is the number that is in the name of Jesus. This is how they used to spell it. Chi, Xi, and Stigma. 603 score and 6. Right there. In his name. Okay. Or the name of the beast, that's Jesus. The mark is the cross, or the number of his name, XES. And so now you know. So, I've proven to you what the abomination of desolation is, beyond a shadow of a doubt, what his name is, the graven image of the beast that had the deadly wound, and the deadly wound was healed. That's right. I've proven all of that to you. Right here. So, folks, if you continue in the lie, you will suffer because of the lie. That's on you. I'm just warning you. I'm telling you the truth here, folks. And Yehoshua, Israel's Redeemer, is coming to save Israel from all you Christians.